Hi all the participants of CFA Research Challenge. In continuation with our industry interaction series with the senior leaders of the organizing committee of CFA Research Challenge, today we are having with us Mr. Aviral Jain. Mr. Aviral is a director at Duff & Phelps and he is the chair of the organizing committee of CFA Research Challenge in India. He is also an executive member of the Delhi chapter of IAIP. Welcome, Mr. Aviral.
Thank you so much.
So, Mr. Aviral, like we are discussing the experiences and many other aspects related to CFA Research Challenge with senior volunteers like you. Today, I would like to ask you that being a chair of the Research Challenge Committee and an executive member of the Delhi chapter, can you share with us your experiences, your journey, and what kind of initiatives you have taken to bring this challenge to its current form?
Sure. So, the journey has been quite interesting, and I would like to mention when I cleared my CFA, this was in 2010. I actually started off my role as a mentor, as an industry mentor,
Okay.
having relevant number of experience, in valuation industry, and I mentored a team, one of the B schools in that year.
Okay.
But at that juncture, I liked the competition so much, and given the opportunities which were there to volunteer with the committee, I started looking at the non-zone of the competition from next year. And over the years, I've reached to performing as a chairperson on the committee. So it's been a very, very wonderful journey. Over the last 6 years, I've looked at many such competitions locally.
Okay.
Got an opportunity to see the teams, Indian teams, performing at Asia level as well. And it's a remarkable change. I mean, the competition has just grown.
Okay.
In terms of number of teams.
Yeah.
More importantly, the level of dedication, the level of passions the teams are showing, the kind of hard work they're putting in, the kind of industry recognition we have got. And it's not just me who's put in efforts. The whole committee, we have a team of about 6 to 8 people, very senior professionals from the industry who are part of the organizing team, and they've put their heart and soul in, taking this challenge where it is today, and maybe to future heights in future. So
That's
more
great.
heights in future. Yeah.
So you are having so many B schools. What are the criteria you consider for selecting those B schools?
This is a very controversial question, because I remember every year we get at least a dozen emails from the B schools who
Yeah.
are not considered last
Because
year.
everybody will like to participate. This being a great exposure with the real world industry, so everybody will like to participate. So you might be having some good rigorous criteria to select the B schools.
No, so we have so to avoid any controversy, we have a very objective criteria.
Okay.
What we do is we pick up the latest rankings of B schools
Okay.
from different publications.
Okay.
You have Business World, you have other magazines, newspapers coming up with rankings every year. And we take the average of, let's say this year we had 4 publications. We take the average rankings from the 4 publications and pick up top 50 business schools across India. And what we try and do is based on the location. So let's say if there are B schools located in Delhi NCR, we try and club them together in one zone, because when we organize the local level or the regional level finals, then it's easier to coordinate from a logistics point of view.
Yeah.
But our criteria is simple,
Okay.
very objective,
Mainly the rankings.
mainly the rankings.
Okay.
And this is what we do. So every year, and it's not static. Every year we
It
review
changes.
the
Okay.
B schools
So
which are
probably
there.
next year there may be a different set of guidelines coming on.
There might be few more. So
Okay.
what my experience has been that every year there may be 3 to 4 B schools
Okay.
which might go out or
Out.
come in.
Okay.
But largely 90% of them,
The top
because
one
of
remains.
the top one remains. If you talk about in India, let's say ABC.
Yeah, they will always
I'm
be
Lucknow ABC.
probably.
They've been at the top for several years, and
Yeah.
they may remain there.
Yeah.
But we really look at very objectively.
That's good. That's good. Okay. So can you tell me how does this challenge provide an exposure to the students both pre-challenge as well as post-challenge?
Yes, that's a very interesting question, because obviously for the pre-challenge part, you have to really work together, you have to put your efforts together. And as a team, you need to get together, research the company, put
Yeah.
equity research report
Yeah.
in place. If you're shortlisted, put the presentation in place,
Okay.
impress the judges,
Yeah.
to move to the national level. Then again, repeat the performance. And if you get a chance to represent India, then repeat your performance at Asia level.
Yeah.
So this whole journey of putting together a equity research report, putting together your presentation, updating it, and keep yourself updated with the stock market, how
Yeah.
the stock is performing, is absolutely a good learning experience for the team. Now this is pre and during the challenge learning.
Okay.
What about the post?
Yeah.
So in this interaction, in this process rather, what happens is the teams interact with a lot of professionals from the industry,
Okay.
whether it is professionals from the IRC committee itself or from the industry mentor, which is allocated to the team. They interact with other participants at local zonal level, at national level, and international level. They also get to mentor. So if let's say you win the competition in India,
Yeah.
the winners actually get mentored by seasoned fund managers.
Okay.
And these seasoned fund managers are the guys who work with large equity research firms, who work with large funds, who are investing their money in the markets with decades of experience. So they get a real time exposure to such distinguished people. And these are the relationships,
That's good.
which you carry afterwards. Because once you're in the industry, so once you graduate and you're in the industry, it's all about relationships. It's all about networking.
Networking.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I believe there will be immense sort of learnings even post the
So in
challenge.
continuation, can you tell us how it exposes them to not only a local but a global level when it comes to the competition?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, it's a two-tier competition in India. One is at local regional level,
Okay.
and then at a national level, which typically happens in Mumbai.
Okay.
And if you are the winning team who's been selected to represent India, then you actually participate in the competition at Asia Pacific level.
Okay.
Now, at Asia Pacific level, we will have teams which are representing different nations at
Okay.
APAC level. So for example, there'll be a team representing Singapore, team representing Hong Kong, team representing China, team representing Philippines,
So one team
Malaysia.
from every country
One team from every country. Now, India is a
in
very
Asia Pacific.
in Asia Pacific. So you're competing with all those teams
Okay.
and fighting it out.
Okay.
And then if you actually happen to be the APAC winners, so many years back, Narsi Munji actually won the Asia Pacific competition, and they represented Asia then at a global level. So then at that time you're competing
Yeah.
with winners of
All
Americas,
the
of EMEA region,
teams across
yes.
various
Continents.
continents, of
Yes,
course.
yes. So so this competition provides an exposure which is not at all cannot be compared with any other.
It is really a global exposure.
Global exposure if you
Yeah.
reach there.
That's true.
That's
That's a condition.
That's the condition.
So any interesting example, any interesting experience from the past challenges which you can give to the participants? From
Many
yeah.
experiences, but I recall one of them. So this was a couple of years back. We were having national finals in Mumbai, and I think we had 5 or 6 teams shortlisted for the national finals. And after the competition, what we do is all the judges, there were 3 judges, all of us get together in one room, and one by one judges start discussing their feedback on the
Okay.
performance of the presentation. There is a certain score sheet that we tally it up. And in that year, so there were 2 teams which had to come out as winners. So the first team, the 3 judges agreed. It was slightly simpler. But the second team, judges took almost an hour
Okay.
to decide who will be the
Who will be
second
the-
winner.
That's
That's so to get a consensus,
Okay.
because there were teams who
So
were
it was
really
such a tough decision.
absolutely. There were certain teams doing very well on one parameter. There were other teams doing well on some other parameter, and then we have to look it as a package.
Yeah.
And
Because we have to justify the decision also.
absolutely, and some of these judges are actually, as I mentioned, fund managers. They might have actually invested in that stock
Yeah.
also. You never know.
Maybe.
So they really knew about
Yeah.
the company and
Okay.
the
Okay.
analysis. So it was a very tough decision, and it really shows the level of competition now we have,
Yeah.
especially at the national level, where you have winners from different zones. Top 50 business schools who are the best minds of the country getting together there. So it was a wonderful experience looking at how fund managers talking to each other and finding out who's the winner.
Yeah, that's quite interesting.
Exactly.
So,
Thankfully, I was not a part. I was standing in one corner of the room and seeing the action. Yes.
sure. Okay. Okay. In this case, I'd like to ask you, what are the benefits which these students, these participants may get in terms of career opportunities or in terms of their placement perspective in campus when they are in campus?
Yeah, that's a very good point because all the participants are, as I mentioned, from top 50 business schools, and placements is I would say, one of the key parameters. Sometimes
Yeah,
is the only
that is the
parameter.
only at times it is.
Exactly. Sometimes it's the
It is a major focus because they are doing everything so that they get a good placement in a good company where they can experience and they can put forward their skills. They can,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely, and there are a couple of things which I've seen over the years. The first and the foremost is that all the participants, especially who have won at, let's say, a local level, regional level, they have started mentioning that achievement in their CVs.
Okay.
So as a recruiter, so I work with a financial advisory firm, and when we go onto campus to recruit students from campuses, we actually look into the fact that whether that student who's pursuing, let's say, finance has actually participated in the competition, and if, let's say, if he has won at a certain level, then actually that's an added point. Because over time the industry has also become aware of this competition, and even that one small bullet in your CV can really make or break your case if you're shortlisted or
Like
not.
we were having a discussion with Kishorji also, so he said it is bigger than a summer internship, being a more defined project, and
It's
having-
live.
Yeah,
It's absolutely
live.
live.
It's live.
And you have
It is not a data
professors
crunching
from the
sort of thing.
industry.
It is an analysis which
Yes,
they are doing.
yes.
So they are gaining on those skills.
Yes, and you are working with, you have guidance from professionals from the industry who are actually doing this on day-to-day job. Whereas in summer internship, you might be doing one project.
Yeah.
The
And
level
that
of
too
interaction might be very limited.
Maybe limited.
Yes, so that's one benefit. The other benefit which I have also seen in the past is sometimes companies reach out to us. In the past, there have been some equity research firms and other financial advisory firms who actually would request us to share CVs of the winning team members.
Okay.
And it has happened in the past, and they whether they offer PPIs or
Yeah.
they still have a discussion for. So basically, in a nutshell, there might be direct career opportunities as well. If you are doing well in this competition, so students can immense.
Yeah, they surely will
Yes,
have an advantage.
yes, they have.
Okay, so finally, any piece of advice, any suggestion which you would like to give to our participants?
Yes, one piece of feedback from my experience till date, I've seen that teams from India, they're very good at analyzing data, putting numbers together.
Okay.
The reports are quite nice. But what I've seen teams from India lacking, is in the softer aspects of the presentation. So, if you look teams from outside India, one good thing which we realize with those teams is the way they present their research. How much, the selection of content which needs to go in the
kind
presentation.
of content they put forward.
Absolutely. And
Because
how they
the report
deliver.
might run on pages and they have to select the content from there.
You have to select, and then you need to present the one. See, it's a 10-minute presentation.
Okay.
It's not like you have 60 minutes,
Yeah,
50 minutes,
yeah.
so you can take a lot of time. It's a 10-minute presentation. If you put too much data in, if you put too much analysis in, somebody who is just, as a judge, if you're just having a look at the presentation for the first time, he might get lost also in just too much, data and analysis. So it needs to be done in a, there needs to be a fine balancing of what to present, what not to present, and the way you deliver. Sometimes people just keep focusing on numbers, or sometimes they might just skip certain aspects, let's say the strategy aspect or the management aspect.
Okay.
the softer aspects like corporate governance,
Yeah.
because they feel it's
Yeah.
not numbers,
Yeah.
so they are more focused on numbers. So, in a nutshell, I would just give one piece of advice that, please also work on the presentation aspect, work on the delivery aspect, how, what type of content you have and how you deliver, and always think from a perspective that, if you're presenting it to someone who has just come to know about this company, so just think from that
Maybe
perspective.
an investor, maybe who doesn't know.
Maybe an
You have to
investor,
convince.
maybe a global investor who
Maybe,
doesn't know.
yeah.
So, and if you have to convince him,
To invest there.
what kind of presentation
Or
will
maybe
you
you have
make?
to put your money also into it, practically.
That's the
You
best
should
way
be
to carry out
convinced. You
research.
should be convinced.
Yes, you
That
should
yes,
have
this is the
conviction.
term. You should
Yes,
have.
yes. So those are the tips, and obviously, I think we have the best minds
Yeah.
participating in
Yeah.
this competition. So, all the very best for that.
Thank you so much, Aviral, for sharing those inputs. I think it will be great learning, and it will be a great motivation to hear you for all the participants.
No,
Thank you
thanks so
much.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.